Hey, how you doing today?
This may be one of most terrible, disgusting, or maybe a useless encounter you have ever witnessed.
Yeah? Where you heading off to? Just walking? Any specific location? Oh, okay. Is this your son?
Yes.
All right. Hey, what's your name?
You can tell him your name.
No.
All right, what's your name, sir?
Johnny.
Johnny. All right. All right, Johnny, where you come from?
Just walking around.
Just walking around?
Yeah.
All right, enjoying this weather?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, we're checking up on you, man. You know?
Just walk around. What the heck is this deal?
Found it a little bit suspicious, you know. So,
What?
just walking around.
Walking around is a little bit suspicious?
I mean, technically not really, but I mean it is pretty early in the morning. Just wondering what was going
That's
on.
what we do. We get up early in the morning.
You got your ID on you?
What do I need an ID for?
Because I just asked you for it.
I don't need to show my ID.
Okay, if you don't give me your ID, I'm going to take you to jail for failure to identify because I've identified that you've been walking around down here at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we do that.
No, you're not. Give me your ID.
I don't have my ID on me because it's at the house.
Okay, what's your name and date of birth?
Huh?
What's your name and date
I
of
don't know, but you can't run. I don't have. This is a state where I don't have to show my
Okay,
ID.
turn around.
You're gonna do this in front of my son?
birth? Yeah, turn around.
Are you serious?
Yeah, turn
This
around.
is my son. Let me bring my son home first.
No, turn around now.
Bro, you need to, here, let me videotape this real quick. I want this on video. What are you doing to my son? Bro, this is up. Son, it's okay?
It's good.
Bro, I promise you're gonna pay for this.
You think?
Yeah, I promise you that. We're walking around, there's nothing suspicious, I've done nothing criminal. I don't have my ID on me, I told you that.
And what did I tell you?
And you
I
just
wanted to-
and you just slammed me on the ground because I was trying to record. What are you rolling me on the ground for?
It's gonna be okay.
Dude, this is ridiculous. Man, look what you're doing to my son. There's my phone right there, too. You're a punk. You know that? Dude, I can't even believe you're doing this to my son because we was walking around on 4th of July.
Have a seat and I'll talk to you. Hey, buddy, come here. You're okay. Listen to me. You're okay. Hey, quit crying. People that don't want to identify typically are involved in criminal activity. I've known this individual to be involved in theft in the city of Canton.
There has been no criminal activity.
Okay, listen to me.
Bro, we were just walking, and when you
Okay,
came up,
so listen,
you didn't hear what he said
Shut
when he
up
first
and
came
listen
up,
for
though,
a
did you?
minute. No, shut up and
Okay,
listen.
what?
Okay. So I saw y'all walk down the alley behind. I saw y'all when I was headed into the office. Walk down, walk across the street.
Yes, sir.
Then I got my unit ready. While getting my unit ready, man, I see y'all back in the alley you left from, okay?
We always walk from that alley around. That's
Okay.
our house is around that. Is that why we do that? I promise. We do it every morning. I'm surprised you haven't seen me.
So here's the thing. That's fine and dandy, man. But listen, we have people that are going down up and down these alleys, spray painting and tearing shit up.
Yes, sir. I understand that.
Okay? It's the 4th of July, man.
But
Okay,
if he
no,
would
no,
have
listen,
came up and said
stop,
something like,
stop.
hey, but he just goes, I've been called for, what do you say, investigation of something. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, okay, so here's the deal, though. Listen, when I got there, I didn't play games with you. I asked you what y'all were doing. You said, okay. I've worked here. Yeah, and that's fine, dude. I love it that you're out with your kid. But it is a little odd, okay? So when I ask you for your ID, you say, I don't have any ID. So what's your name and date of birth? That's all you have to give me. Give me your name and date of birth. What is your name and date of birth?
I know, but it's just because
No, this is your last opportunity.
Oh, you're asking me right now? I thought
What
you were
is
saying
your-
my name is John Sexton.
Okay, set tight.
Okay, so right off the bat, I'm watching this, and I need you to pay attention to what just happened. The officer approaches John Sexton, who is simply walking with his son early in the morning. And what does the officer say? He admits he's suspicious, but then immediately says, technically not really. That right there is legally significant, because he just told us he has no articulable, reasonable suspicion. Now here's what the footage doesn't tell you. John Sexton is known in his community as a civil rights advocate who has been vocal about police accountability for years. This was not a random encounter with someone unfamiliar with their rights. Under Brown v. Texas, which I mentioned earlier, the Supreme Court held that an officer must have specific, objective facts that suggest criminal activity before they can lawfully detain someone. Walking down the street at 5:30 in the morning, that is not a crime. Being outside early, not a crime. The officer's own words reveal the constitutional problem here, and this is critical. Oklahoma has no stop and identify statute. None. Which means, even during a lawful Terry stop, an officer cannot arrest you simply for refusing to provide identification. The threat we just heard, where the officer says, "Give me your ID or I'm taking you to jail," that statement alone demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of Fourth Amendment law, or worse, a willful disregard for it. What makes this even more troubling is that Officer Goodwin, who we just watched, was reportedly involved in a similar misconduct investigation 2 years ago that ended without discipline. That history matters because it speaks to patterns, and patterns are exactly what civil rights attorneys look for when building excessive force and constitutional violation cases. The moment this officer threatened arrest for not producing ID without any reasonable suspicion of criminal activity, he crossed a constitutional line. Under Terry v. Ohio from 1968, officers can briefly detain someone if they have reasonable, articulable suspicion. But suspicion of what? Walking? Being awake? The officer articulated nothing. And when Sexton tried to document the encounter, as is his constitutional right under the First Amendment, the situation escalated. We're watching the foundation of a civil rights lawsuit being laid in real time here.
Pond 5 Weatherford. Show 1 detained. Okay, listen, man. As long as you don't have like a bad warrant, I don't want to take you to jail. I don't like taking people to jail. I don't like doing what I had to do to you in front of your kid. But you caused it. All you had to do was provide the information asked. No, listen. Shut up and listen just a minute. We had reasonable enough suspicion to identify you. That's all that matters.
But if I did criminal activity.
Yeah.
But I didn't do no criminal activity. So
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I didn't do nothing criminal walking with my son.
Okay. It's not criminal, but we still have reasonable enough suspicion to identify you.
And if I want to give the ID, I can.
No, it's not a if the state is not a if you want to state.
It's a state that they can ID you at any time.
It's not a. This is not a shall ID state. But once you're being detained, and
What was I being detained for?
criminal, like we don't know what's going on, but we can call it criminal activity.
That's not. But I didn't do criminal activity, sir. That was
Okay, man.
Thrown down like that in front of my son.
I didn't even throw you down. If you want to know the truth,
You did. And
No.
you rolled me on the ground, sir.
I rolled you on the ground to.
2 times.
I just making sure you don't have any weapons in there, bro.
Bro, that was just a little overdoing it when a kid's right there. That's all I'm saying.
Well, don't you think maybe next time a cop says, "Hey, what's your
I
name?"
have my ID though. That's what I was telling you. I don't have it on me.
But I did ask you what your name and date of birth is. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about it, Mr. Sexton. Okay, you got warrants out of, see? And that's what I'm saying, man.
Where at?
I've been doing this. You got warrants out of Woods County.
They don't pick me up. I was just
Okay, but here's the thing, man.
It's a ticket, that unpaid ticket.
But here's the thing, man. Typically, when a cop's out with somebody and they don't want to identify, it leads us to believe that you are involved in more criminal activity than we need to. So that's why you heard me saying what I was saying, because I'm narrating for the camera. This is not my first day on the job, okay? If I tell you to do something, you better be doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but
Hey, you know what? Maybe teach.
I don't have to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just thought my son being there, it wasn't the right time to do all this.
Yeah, well, you know what, man? At 5:30 in the morning.
Bro, I get up 4 o'clock every morning.
No, that's cool, man.
4 o'clock at night. I get up at 4 o'clock.
But put yourself in our position. We have our job is to make certain that it's not going on down here. We see all the spray painting. So I literally saw y'all cross right here. Howdy.
Indians around here running around doing that bull.
I got you, bro. Was clear. How you getting along over there, boss? Huh? Yeah. He's got possible warrants. So when I was headed in, I saw him walk down the alley, and then when I moved my truck around to the covered stuff, you know you can park back there if you want, right?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, you can, man. When I moved my truck back around there, like, I turned, so this is Prouty. They were already walking out of the alley at Noble. They walked, and then they just turned around, and he went right back into the same alley he came from. And he was hanging around on the, it'd be like 101, 102 or something like that. I'd have to go back and look at the address. But he's hanging around back there where they cook all that barbecue and stuff. So that's why we're making contact with him.
Yeah.
When people don't want to identify, typically there's something else going on. You know what I mean?
I need you to hear what that officer just said. Listen to me carefully. He told John Sexton we had reasonable enough suspicion to identify you, and that's all that matters in my book. In his book. Not in the Constitution's book, not in the Supreme Court's book, his book. And then he follows it up with something that made me physically lean back. He says, if I tell you to do something, you better be doing it. That is not how constitutional policing works. That is the language of authority without accountability, and it is precisely the mindset that leads to civil rights violations. Now let me break down the legal disaster we just witnessed. The officer attempts to justify the detention by claiming they saw Sexton near some spray painting and walking through alleys. But here's what courts have consistently held. Proximity to an area where a crime may have occurred does not by itself create reasonable suspicion. The Supreme Court addressed this directly in Illinois v. Wardlow in 2000, where they emphasized that presence in a high crime area alone is not enough for a Terry stop. What specific articulable facts did these officers have connecting Sexton to any actual criminal conduct? Walking? Being near an alley? Having a son with him at 5 in the morning? None of that constitutes reasonable suspicion under the Fourth Amendment's objective standard. And here's where the qualified immunity question becomes fascinating. For officers to receive qualified immunity protection, they typically need to show that the constitutional right wasn't clearly established at the time. But the right to be free from detention without reasonable suspicion? That has been clearly established since Terry v. Ohio in 1968. That's over 5 decades of settled law. The officer also reveals something deeply problematic when he says that refusing to identify leads us to believe you are involved in more criminal activity. That is circular reasoning. You cannot bootstrap reasonable suspicion from a citizen exercising their constitutional right to remain silent. The Fifth Amendment exists for a reason. What we're watching is textbook constitutional misconduct. And I should note, I'm not a practicing attorney, but based on established case law, this encounter violates multiple clearly established rights. The city is facing lawsuits potentially exceeding millions of dollars, and based on what I just watched, those lawsuits have substantial legal foundation.
Too early for this.
He was like 10.
Huh?
You don't have one, he's got like 10.
Yeah. He didn't want to identify. He got his tripped up, put on the ground.
What was he doing?
So when I came in, I come from the north. I see him cross this street, Prouty, in the alleyway. He's walking down. When I turn to go put my stuff up, they don't come out at Noble. I get my stuff to go, and I move my pickup around back, and they're hanging around like the back over there. You know where the bar, like where TGC is and stuff? They're hanging around over there. I don't know what they're doing. So Joaquin finds him. Joaquin's talking to him. He's like, I don't have to tell y'all anything. I said, dude, you're being detained. Hold on. I said, what is you give me your ID? He's like, I ain't giving you my ID. I don't have it. I said, okay, what's your name and date of birth? And he said, I don't have to tell you, or something like that. So I said, all right, go ahead, turn and put your hands behind your back. I'll take you in for failure to identify. You're being detained. I don't know. I was fixing to tell Joaquin, if we can kind of get the situation where we can go over there to TGC and see what's going on and make sure nothing's out of the ordinary. He's like, we're just out walking, man. We walk every day. Okay, that's cool. But how much crap goes on in these alleys, Jarrett?
You all right? Yeah, all right.
So, he wouldn't turn around and put his hands behind his back. So he got the old jerk, kick your feet out from underneath you right in front of his kid. I hate to be that way. It's 4th of July. You know what I mean?
Now we're getting to the part that transforms this from a bad stop into a potential civil rights catastrophe. What you just watched was John Sexton describing how physical force entered this equation. And this is where we have to talk about Graham v. Connor. In 1989, the Supreme Court established the framework that governs every single use of force analysis in American policing. The court held that force must be evaluated under an objective reasonableness standard from the perspective of a reasonable officer on scene. But here's what Graham actually requires. Courts must examine the severity of the crime at issue, the immediacy of any threat to officer safety, and whether the suspect was actively resisting or attempting to evade arrest. So let's apply those factors to what Sexton is describing. What crime was at issue? None had been established. We've already covered there was no reasonable suspicion to justify this stop in the first place. Was there an immediate threat to officer safety? Sexton was walking with his son. He wasn't armed, he wasn't aggressive, he was asking questions about why he was being detained, which is his constitutional right. Was he actively resisting? Refusing to provide identification when you have no legal obligation to do so is not resistance under the law. When you stack up those Graham factors, the math doesn't work in the officer's favor. Any force applied in this situation has to be measured against the complete absence of legitimate justification for the encounter itself. And here's what the research tells us about Officer Goodwin specifically. This isn't his first rodeo with misconduct allegations. 2 years prior, he was investigated for similar conduct and walked away without discipline due to insufficient evidence. That pattern matters enormously in civil litigation because it speaks to deliberate indifference by the department. When municipalities know about problem officers and fail to act, they expose themselves to liability under Monell v. Department of Social Services. The city isn't just facing a lawsuit against 2 officers. They're facing questions about policy, training, and supervision failures that enabled this encounter. That's how lawsuits go from thousands to millions. The DOJ has already indicated incidents in reviewing incidents like this across Oklahoma for potential patterns of rights violations.
I mean, why is he out 6 o'clock in the morning with his kid?
Says he gets up every morning at 4 and walks around. You ever seen him?
No.
Me neither.
No, and I call out those when I do them too.
Yeah.
I purposely drive behind them.
I don't think I'm out of the scope of my job, do you?
No. I mean, we've been told to extra patrol because of issues in the alleys, and now we're checking out somebody that's in the
Yeah, exactly.
We've got break-ins, we've got graffiti, reports of drug stuff.
He's got warrants out of Woods, Custer, K. Yeah. This guy, he had weed in his car, a little bit of weed, but not enough to matter. You know this guy at all?
The name sounds familiar, but I don't.
Is this the guy that Travis got into it with at Canton? Is this the coins, the guy that stole the coin jar off the Love's player? Okay, man, have a good night. See? I'm not dumb, am I? People usually have warrants that don't want to identify.
I know, but they've been on there for 10 years. Like, they're just for tickets.
Okay.
That's all they are.
Well, here's the thing, though. Are you aware of what they're doing now? So now that I've advised you, they're all supposed to put a check mark on them or whatever. So the next time somebody checks out with you, guess what? There's a good chance you might go to jail for them. So you might want to start getting a hold of them counties to take care of it.
Yeah, you got to get a hold of them now, they say. They used to just put warrants out, but they said if you get a hold of them and you can't pay it, they'll work with you to not put one out. But
yeah, but here's the
this
deal.
was from 10 years ago. That's the reason
a lot of you,
out,
a lot of you guys have strung them out so long now that they're saying, hey, guess what?
Sit them out.
Nope. Yep. You can come set them out.
Yeah.
All right, man. Mr. Sexton, if you're going to be walking around, that's fine, but we've literally been put on extra patrol in the alleyways, so that's why you got checked out with. And if me or one of my officers check out with you, at least give them your information. Okay?
All right.
So you guys have a good day.
You got my phone?
Yeah, I do. Glad you asked. I'd have to try to come find you. Where are you working at?
Apple Market.
Okay, man. Hey, buddy. See, this is what we don't.
Come on, son.
Hey.
You're supposed to be in there, son. Come on. We can't play in there. That's not ours, okay? We'll go home and pay.
All right, so listen, you guys, we don't mind you getting out walking around, but when the police officers ask you who you are, you better tell them, okay?
Come on, let's go.
We can see he appearing calm, unarmed, and simply walking with his child. I mean, and then things escalate, okay? The father is detained and his child starts crying. Imagine being a kid and watching your father being taken away while you don't even understand what's happening. And that can be a heartbreaking experience. Maybe for you guys who are watching, some of you think that it's not a big deal. But just let's suppose you are there with your kid. Of course, police have a difficult job and we don't know everything that happened before this video. But if there was no immediate threat, shouldn't the officer also consider the situation and the child standing right there? They ask the child, is it your father? I think that's enough. being professional is not just about enforcing the law, it is also about using judgment and treating people with respect. This is all many of them want. This is only my opinion, and I would genuinely like to hear from you guys. Was this handled how, or could it have been handled differently? Tell me in the comment section, guys. Love to hear from you. As I said before, thank you for watching. Videos only for educational and awareness purpose. Respect for all, but I need your opinion. Follow for more.